My sister made me her maid of honor, then demanded I pay $8,000 for her honeymoon as my gift. So I refused and she uninvited me from her wedding. But when I did this at her bridal shower, she went silent. Throwaway. BC my sister follows my main. I, female, 32, have always had a complicated relationship with my younger sister Brandy, female, 29. She's getting married to Adam, male, 34, in 3 months, and asked me to be her maid of honor back in January, which honestly shocked me because we've never been super close. Like, we don't hate each other, but we're definitely not besties or anything. I figured she'd pick one of her Instagram friends. She's got like 50K followers as a lifestyle influencer, but I was actually really touched, thinking maybe this meant we were finally gonna have a better relationship as adults. Yeah, I'm an idiot. For some context, Brandy has always been my parents' favorite since we were kids. Not even in a subtle way. She was the pretty one, the social butterfly, got to do dance and cheerleading while I was the responsible one who had to watch her and help with everything. I love my sister most of the time, but our whole lives there's been this weird dynamic where I'm expected to take care of her. Like, I was the one who defended her from bullies in middle school. I actually got suspended once for punching a girl who called Brandy fat, helped her with homework and college apps, and I've basically been her emergency fund for years, with loans that magically never get repaid. I'm a pediatric nurse at Children's Hospital, which I love, but the pay isn't amazing. I finally managed to buy my first condo last year, tiny 1-bedroom, but it's mine. But I'm still drowning in nursing school loans and just trying to keep up financially. Meanwhile, Brandy posts all these fancy outfits and luxury hotels on Instagram, making it look like she's living this amazing life, but she's constantly asking me for money. Since becoming maid of honor, I've already spent over $3,000 on wedding stuff. This ridiculously specific designer bridesmaid dress she insisted on, $700, which is more than my monthly student loan payment. A completely over-the-top bachelorette weekend in Miami that was basically just an Instagram photo shoot, $1,200 for my share. Co-hosting her engagement party with the other bridesmaids, $1,100 for my portion. I don't mind helping Brandy have her perfect day, but my savings account is hurting, especially since my car needed a new transmission last month, which was another $2,000 I definitely didn't have. I had to dip into my emergency fund, which stressed me out so much. So last week, Brandy texts me like, "Let's do lunch to discuss wedding details." I figured it was about the bridal shower or something. We meet at this fancy new place downtown. Of course, she picked somewhere expensive, $22 for a freaking salad, what the frick. And at first, everything seemed fine. She was being super nice, telling me what a great maid of honor I've been and how much she appreciates everything I've done. I actually got a little emotional, thinking we were finally having this real sister moment. Then she casually mentions how our cousin Lisa gave them $5,000 as an early wedding gift. I just nodded and smiled uncomfortably because I can't match that. Then she starts talking about how she's been researching honeymoon options in Bali. She shows me all these pictures on her phone of these insane private villas with infinity pools, couples massages, private dinners on the beach, the works. She mentioned it would cost $16,000 total, but Adam's parents already agreed to cover half. Then she told me she expected me to cover the other half as my gift to them. I laughed because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She basically said that as her maid of honor and sister, paying for half their honeymoon would be the perfect gift from me. I tried to explain that I don't have $8,000 to give her, especially after everything else I've spent on the wedding. I told her I was planning to give them $500, which is already stretching my budget. Her whole face changed. She went from sweet sister to ice queen in like 2 seconds. She got really upset, saying $500 was nothing and asking what I'd done for her after everything she'd done for me. I wanted to ask what exactly she's done for me, but I hate confrontation. I tried explaining about my car repairs and financial situation, but she wouldn't listen. She accused me of being selfish, saying since I bought a condo, I clearly have money. She said it was the most important day of her life, and I couldn't do this one thing for her. I suggested maybe I could contribute to a different part of the honeymoon, like pay for a special dinner or excursion, but she refused. She got up and told me if I couldn't do this one thing for her, I shouldn't bother coming to the wedding. Then she left me to pay for lunch, $75. That evening, my parents called. Apparently, Brandy had called them crying about how I ruined everything. They spent 45 minutes telling me I need to figure it out, because Brandy has her heart set on Bali. When I tried explaining that I literally do not have $8,000, my mom said I've always been jealous of my sister's happiness. I've been feeling crazy the past few days, wondering if I am being selfish. I'm not normally someone who says no to family, so this is really hard for me. Then yesterday, something happened that made me question everything. I ran into Adam's brother Wade at the coffee shop near my condo. We were making small talk about the wedding, and he mentioned how Adam is so impressed with Brandy's financial independence. Wade told me that Adam loves that Brandy pays for everything herself and doesn't rely on anyone for money, and that it's what attracted him to her in the first place. I was completely shocked because I don't know exactly what Brandy has told Adam about her finances, but from what I know, she's been lying to her fiancé about her financial situation the whole time they've been together. So not only is she trying to get me to pay for half her honeymoon, she's been lying to Adam about money this whole time. I don't know what to do. Am I really expected to drain my savings and go into credit card debt for my gift as maid of honor? Edit. Some people are asking about other bridesmaids. There are 5 total, including me. None of them have been asked to contribute anywhere near this amount of money. 2 of them are Brandy's college friends who are still in grad school. 1 is our cousin, and 1 is her coworker from when she briefly worked at a PR firm. Edit 2. To answer the questions about past loans, yes, I've loaned Brandy money many times. The biggest was $3,000 when she said she needed to pay off a credit card before applying for an apartment 3 years ago. I've also covered smaller amounts ranging from $200 to $500 for various emergencies over the years. She always promises to pay me back, but never does. If I bring it up, she gets defensive and says things like, "I thought that was a gift," or "I've done so much for you too." At this point, I've basically accepted I'll never see that money again. Edit 3. For those suggesting I talk to Adam, I barely know him. They've been together for 2 years, but Brandy always keeps me at a distance from her relationships. I've only met him maybe 10 times total, always in group settings. I don't have his number, and I'm afraid it would just cause more problems if I went behind her back. Now for the first update. Okay, so it's been about 3 weeks since my last post, and holy crap, a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone who commented. I honestly didn't expect so many people to respond. I read every single comment, even though I couldn't reply to all of them. A bunch of you said I should just cut contact with Brandy, but it's not that simple when you've been the designated responsible sister your whole life. So after my last post, I spent like a week avoiding everyone's calls. My mom called me literally 14 times in 2 days, which is crazy even for her. I finally answered, and she lectured me about how family comes first and how I need to be the bigger person, because that's just how Brandy is. That's literally the problem. Anyway, despite being uninvited from the wedding, my mom insisted I had to come to Brandy's bridal shower this past weekend. She basically guilted me into it, saying it would break my father's heart if his daughters can't be in the same room, and other manipulative stuff. I almost said no, but then I thought maybe it would be a chance to actually talk to Brandy and clear the air. I don't know why I keep thinking things will be different. I spent way too much time getting ready that morning. I finally settled on this blue dress I bought last year that I've only worn once, but it makes me look like I have my life together, even though I definitely don't. So I get to this fancy restaurant where they're holding the shower, the same place where we had Dad's 60th birthday party, where Brandy announced her big promotion that I later found out was completely made up, by the way. I walk in and immediately spot Brandy with her bridesmaids in the corner. She literally looked right at me and then turned away like she didn't see me. Cool. The whole first hour was so awkward. Nobody talked to me except my mom, who kept giving me these looks like, "Behave yourself," even though I wasn't doing anything. I just sat at a table with my aunts trying to look busy on my phone. During the mimosa hour, I went to the bathroom and overheard 2 of the bridesmaids, Kayla and Lisa, talking about me. I heard them saying I was being selfish about the wedding and refusing to help with any of the maid of honor duties. I was furious. Like my hands were literally shaking. I couldn't help myself and walked right out of the stall, which, yes, scared the crap out of them. I asked what exactly Brandy told them I refused to do. They both looked like deer in headlights. Kayla recovered first and said Brandy told them I refused to help with any wedding stuff because I'm jealous she's getting married first. I couldn't believe it. I told them that was complete BS and that actually Brandy demanded I pay $8,000 for her honeymoon as my maid of honor gift and uninvited me from the wedding when I said I couldn't afford it. Their faces, oh my frickin' God. They both just stared at me. Lisa actually said this doesn't sound like the Brandy they know, which made me laugh because they have no idea who my sister really is. Whatever. I don't even care what Brandy's fake friends think of me. Except I totally did care and was fighting back tears the whole time, which is so stupid. After that super fun bathroom encounter, I went back to the party just in time for the gift opening. Adam's mom gave Brandy this gorgeous pearl necklace that probably cost more than my monthly rent. And then she said how impressed she is with how financially independent Brandy is and how refreshing it is to see young people today who don't rely on handouts. I almost choked. Brandy looked so uncomfortable, which I thought was her finally feeling ashamed. But looking back, I think she was just terrified of being exposed. Right before the gift opening started, my Aunt Maggie, who's always been the only one who sees through Brandy's BS, asked me to step outside for some fresh air. We went out to the terrace, and she asked me how much Brandy had asked me for this time. I was completely caught off guard. Like, what? Aunt Maggie just gave me this knowing look and said, Brandy asked her for $3,000 last week for unexpected wedding costs. She figured I wasn't the only one Brandy was hitting up. I told her about the $8,000 honeymoon demand, and Aunt Maggie just sighed and told me our cousin Dean also loaned Brandy $2,500 recently. But then Aunt Maggie told me something huge. She said she accidentally found credit card statements in Brandy's purse when Brandy asked her to grab her lipstick. Brandy has over $40,000 in credit card debt. $40,000. Apparently her whole influencer lifestyle is built on maxed out credit cards and loans from family members. And according to Aunt Maggie, Adam has absolutely no idea. He thinks they're financially stable and building a future together. I felt sick. I kept thinking about what Wade told me at the coffee shop about how Adam values Brandy's financial independence. Their whole relationship is based on a lie. I went back inside feeling weird. Brandy was opening gifts and making these fake humble comments like, material things aren't what matter, it's family support that counts, while looking directly at me. I left the shower early, claiming I had a headache, which wasn't even a lie. This whole situation was giving me a migraine. But I couldn't stop thinking about everything Aunt Maggie told me. Something in me just snapped. I spent the next few days gathering evidence of all Brandy's financial lies. I found copies of checks I'd written her over the years, totaling over $15, screenshots of texts where she promised to pay me back, bank statements showing the transfers. I put everything in this pretty box I had, ironically one that Brandy had given me for Christmas, that probably cost $5, but she acted like it was some fancy, expensive gift. I added a $200 spa gift card, which is what I could actually afford, and wrote this letter about how sisterhood should be more valuable than money. The bridal shower had a second part scheduled for family gifts the following weekend. I decided to bring my special gift to that one. When it was my turn to give my gift, Brandy had this smug smile like she was expecting something pathetic. The look on her face when she opened the box, I'll never forget it. She went completely pale and slammed the lid shut before anyone could see what was inside. Adam was sitting next to her and asked what she got, and she mumbled something about just some spa stuff and quickly moved on to the next gift. Her hands were literally shaking for the rest of the gift opening. She wouldn't look at me at all. I left shortly after that. I know it was probably a petty thing to do, but honestly, I'm just so tired of being taken advantage of and then painted as the bad guy. By the time I got to my car, I had 6 missed calls from Brandy and a text that just said, "How could you?" I turned off my phone and drove home. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm honestly too exhausted to care right now. Edit. A lot of people are asking what specifically was in the box. Along with the spa gift card and letter, I included copies of 7 checks I've written to Brandy over the past 3 years, screenshots of 23 text convos where she asked for money and promised to pay me back, a spreadsheet showing all the loans totaling $15,326, bank statements showing the transfers, a list of all the wedding expenses I've already covered, $3,000 plus. Edit 2. Several people have suggested I should tell Adam directly about Brandy's financial situation. I'm conflicted about this. On one hand, he deserves to know what he's getting into. On the other hand, it's not really my place to interfere in their relationship. Plus, I'm afraid of making things even worse with my family. I genuinely don't know what the right thing to do is. Edit 3. To answer why I didn't just tell Adam at the shower, I barely know him. We've only had like 2 conversations alone ever. It felt too public and messy to have that conversation surrounded by all our family and friends. And yes, I realize the irony of saying that after what I did do at the shower, I wasn't thinking clearly. Now for the second update. So it's been about 2 weeks since my last update about the bridal shower incident, and holy crap, you guys. After the bridal shower, where I gave Brandy my special gift, the box with all the evidence of her loans and financial lies, my phone went crazy. I had like 27 missed calls from Brandy, 14 from my mom, 9 from my dad, and a bunch from random family members who were at the shower. I couldn't deal with any of it, so I just turned my phone off for the rest of the day. When I finally turned it back on Sunday night, there were tons of texts. Most were from Brandy calling me every name in the book. My favorites included backstabbing bitch and jealous pathetic spinster. Lol, okay. My parents' texts were basically saying how could I embarrass our family and to call them right away. But there was also a text from Adam, which completely shocked me because we've literally never texted before. Megan, I think we need to talk. Would you be willing to meet for coffee this week? I didn't know what to do. Part of me was like, nope, I'm done with this whole situation, but another part felt like I owed him some kind of explanation. I spent the entire night stress cleaning my condo. I literally scrubbed the grout in my bathroom with a toothbrush at 2 a.m., which is something I've done since I was a kid whenever my family stressed me out. My therapist would have a field day with that one. I finally texted Adam back Monday morning and agreed to meet him at this neutral coffee shop downtown on Wednesday after my shift. I was honestly terrified about what he might say. Like, was he going to yell at me? Thank me. I had no idea. So Wednesday comes and I show up at the coffee shop still wearing my scrubs because I didn't have time to change after my shift ran late. Of course, a kid came in with a complex case right as I was about to leave. I was exhausted and probably looked like complete garbage, but whatever. Adam was already there when I arrived, just sitting there drinking his coffee. He looked normal, like not upset or angry, which honestly freaked me out more. I later realized he was probably in shock, but at the time I thought maybe he didn't care about the whole situation, which made me feel kind of defensive. I grabbed a coffee and sat down across from him. We did that awkward thing where neither person wants to start talking. I finally broke and asked how Brandy was doing. Stupid question, I know. He ignored my question and asked me about what was in that gift box. I hesitated because, this felt super uncomfortable. I told him it was between me and Brandy, and he got this really sad look on his face. He told me Brandy had been really upset for days, but wouldn't explain why. He said he found the box hidden in the back of their closet, but hadn't opened it because he wanted to respect her privacy. I remember thinking how much I respected that. Like, who wouldn't look in that box after all that drama? I definitely would have, lol. Then he told me Brandy had temporarily called off the wedding, telling him they needed to postpone because of family drama, but wouldn't give him any specifics. I was so surprised. She called it off. After all this time pressuring everyone about her perfect day, that's when I finally told him about the $8,000 honeymoon demand. He looked really confused. He told me they were going to Mexico for 5 days, and the whole trip was only costing about $3,000 total. And that's when I realized Brandy had been lying to everyone about everything. I felt so sick, but I knew he deserved the truth, so I explained about all the loans over the years that were never repaid, and how she'd been asking other family members for money too. I told him about Aunt Maggie finding the credit card statements showing she was tens of thousands in debt. Adam kept shaking his head and saying this couldn't be right and that they'd talked about their finances many times. He told me Brandy had always said she was financially independent and responsible, and it was one of the main things he loved about her. He said they'd been saving for a house together, and she'd been adding her share to a joint account every month. Now he was wondering where that money was even coming from if she was so deep in debt. I felt really bad seeing how upset he was, but at the same time, I knew he needed to know the truth before legally binding himself to someone with secret massive debt and a shopping addiction. He thanked me for being honest, which made me feel even worse somehow, and said he needed to talk to Brandy. Then he just got up and left. He looked really upset. That night, Brandy called me screaming, like I had to hold the phone away from my ear. She was really upset, saying I'd ruined everything and destroyed her life. She said Adam had come home and asked to see all her financial records and credit card statements. Then my parents called. My mom said I must be happy now that I've destroyed my sister's engagement, and my dad kept saying I should have kept family business in the family. Because apparently, letting Adam marry someone $40K plus in debt without knowing is totally fine in their book. I just hung up on them, which I've never done before. For about a week after that, I heard absolutely nothing from Brandy or Adam. Radio silence. My parents kept calling, but I mostly ignored them. I picked up extra shifts at work and basically lived at the hospital. Then last night, completely out of nowhere, there was a knock on my door around 8 p.m. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I looked through the peephole and was really surprised. It was Brandy. I seriously considered pretending I wasn't home. Is that awful? But I finally opened the door and, wow, she looked rough. Her hair wasn't done, she wasn't wearing makeup, and her eyes were all puffy and red. I've literally never seen Brandy leave the house without being perfectly put together since she was like 15. I let her in, and we just sat in this really uncomfortable silence in my living room. She kept looking around at my tiny condo like she was seeing it for the first time, even though she's been here before. Finally, she said really quietly that I humiliated her. I started to defend myself, but she held up her hand to stop me. Then she said something I never expected to hear from Brandy's mouth, that I was right to do it. I was so shocked. She told me Adam had almost called off the engagement completely. He made her show him everything, all her credit cards, bank statements, loans, everything. And apparently it was even worse than what Aunt Maggie had seen. Brandy admitted she's actually over $60,000 in debt from maintaining her influencer lifestyle. She started crying and said she's been lying to everyone, including herself, about her financial situation for years. She said she's been so scared of losing Adam, whose family has money, that she kept spending more and more to keep up appearances. I asked her why she never just told the truth, and she said being Brandy, the successful influencer, is the only thing she has that's hers. She said I've always been the smart one, the responsible one, the one with the real career helping people, while she just has pictures of herself pretending to live a life she can't afford. She told me Adam has insisted on financial counseling and couples therapy before they even think about rescheduling the wedding, and she apologized for the $8,000 demand and all the previous unpaid loans. She actually said the words, "I'm sorry." Then she asked if I would consider being her maid of honor again in a much smaller, affordable wedding if they do reschedule. I had never seen this honest version of my sister since we were kids. I told her I would think about it, but that we would need to have some serious boundaries about financial expectations. She actually nodded and seemed to understand. So now the wedding has been postponed for at least 6 months while Brandy works on her issues. Some of our relatives, especially my parents, still think I should have just paid the money to avoid all this, but honestly, I think this needed to happen. Brandy has actually made some small steps that make me hopeful. She paid me back $300 last week, the first time she's ever repaid any money she's borrowed from me. She started being more honest on her Instagram about living within your means, though she hasn't fully come clean about her previous fake lifestyle. And she's actually attending financial counseling with Adam. I don't know if their relationship will survive this, and honestly, I don't know if our sister relationship will either. But for the first time in our adult lives, it feels like we're being honest with each other. They're now planning a small backyard wedding at our parents' house instead of the expensive venue. I got Brandy a $300 gift card as an early wedding gift, what I can actually afford, and she thanked me and said it was really generous without any sarcasm or passive-aggressive comments. I know we have a long way to go, and I'm still really wary of falling back into old patterns, but I'm hopeful that maybe, just maybe, we can build something healthier going forward. Edit. A lot of people are asking if I feel guilty about exposing Brandy's lies. Yes and no. I feel terrible about how public it became and how humiliated she was, but I don't regret that Adam found out the truth before legally binding himself to someone's $60K in debt. Financial dishonesty is a huge relationship killer, and he deserved to know what he was getting into. Edit 2. To everyone asking about my parents, they're slowly coming around. My mom actually called yesterday and admitted that maybe Brandy needed a wake-up call, though she still thinks I could have found a gentler way to do it. Classic mom, never fully taking my side, lol. But it's progress, I guess.